It is an effort by lawmakers from both parties to make major changes to the criminal justice system.
But what does the bill do, and why do some Republicans say it will put hardened criminals back on the streets prematurely? News 3's Martin Staunton is here now with some answers.
Good evening to both of you and everyone out there watching. Those senators who believe the overhaul to the federal prison system will prematurely release those hardened criminals were clearly in the minority when it came down to the vote. Only a dozen senators said nay last night, and the rest advanced some of the broadest set of changes to federal crime statutes in a generation.
The First Step Act is the culmination of years of negotiations. It's aimed at addressing concerns that the nation's war on drugs has exploded the prison population without helping people prepare to return to society. It's a measure that's earned votes from some senators like Lindsey Graham.
I'm a pretty hard ass on most criminal justice things, but we have a system that's just gotten to be bureaucratic.
The bill reduces life sentences for some drug offenders with 3 convictions or 3 strikes to 25 years. The change would only apply to federal prisoners. The bill also gives judges more discretion when it comes to sentencing some drug offenders and boosts the rehabilitation efforts for prisoners. South Carolina Senator Tim Scott says education is one of the keys to reducing recidivism.
I've spent some time visiting state prisons in South Carolina, and the level of functional illiteracy in jail must be around 60 to 70%. If we can focus on the benefits and the advantages for the community, this bill will have been worth it.
A former U.S. attorney for the Southern District of Georgia says the bill has real reforms like reduced sentences for good behavior.
It will allow us to not continue to clog up the system with nonviolent folks who pose little or no danger to society by keeping them incarcerated at the federal level. Previously, in the federal system, you served the time that you were sentenced to, so there was no parole from the federal system. So this would be a new feature which will allow inmates to basically earn time for early release based upon their behavior while they're incarcerated.
But the legislation is getting mixed reviews from people we spoke with in Savannah.
I think that they should do it all the time. You know what I mean? Because see what happens when they let them out early, whatever. You know, they come back out and do more stuff, you know what I'm saying?
It is a good thing to allow prisoners to get that chance, that second chance, that say, okay, I'm ready to come back into the world and live as a citizen on the right side of the law instead of on the bad side of the law.
The House is also expected to pass the measure before Congress adjourns for the holidays this week, sending it to the president for his signature. Mr. Trump is expected to sign it. Martin Staunton, WSAV News 3.
Martin, thank you. Digging deeper now, we checked with the Federal Bureau of Prisons. In South Carolina, there are 4 federal facilities housing nearly 6,000 prisoners. Georgia has 5 federal penitentiaries with more than 3,500 inmates. There is no word yet on how many prisoners in both states may qualify for early release if the First Step Act is signed into law.